Hi, I'm Daniel Harrison, and I'm going to be talking you through our TOKAI paper, Designing Technology-Mediated Peer Support for Postgraduate Research Students at Risk of Loneliness and Social Isolation. This paper has 12 authors, so in the interest of time, I'm not going to read out all of my co-authors and their affiliations, not least because doing so would inevitably use up most of the 7 minutes that I have to present the paper. On that topic, because of the limited time available, I'm only going to present a subset of our work, and I implore that you read the full paper, which includes a lot more detail. Before I get too far into the presentation, it's also important to note that this research was undertaken before the COVID-19 pandemic, so none of our work was influenced by or counter to any COVID-related restrictions or guidelines. So this work was undertaken as part of a larger project related to loneliness and social isolation, which helped highlight some of the particular challenges that postgraduate research students, or PGR students, may face when studying. These challenges can include working independently for long periods of time or in hot desking spaces, feeling like they're not part of a community and having an unclear identity within the university, managing different life roles and external pressures such as care and responsibilities. Indeed, the struggles that PGR students face in this respect are well documented, and many universities run seminar series for new PGR students or offer buddying schemes to help them settle in, which have been shown to be beneficial. However, there's potential for much more work to be done here, especially focusing on different ways of providing support and ways to provide support throughout the PGR journey, which we talk about here. We initially ran a series of design workshops with 24 PGR students, and interestingly, these participants remarked on how much they gained from just meeting others in the workshops, despite them studying in different fields, which was not something that they'd anticipated. So motivated by these findings, we created Pears. Pears is a hybrid physical-digital system which pairs PGR students together for in-person meetings. It comprises of a smartphone app and a paper-based workbook, which we provided to participants in this natty little pack. The Pears app provides notifications of the pre-scheduled meetings between participants, telling them where and when to meet, and it also includes a visualization showing the other participants they'd already met and the ability to view their profiles and send messages to them. The paper-based journal included a series of different creative or reflective activities which participants were encouraged to complete using the included pens and then share with the other participants using the app each day. We conducted a real-world evaluation of Pears with a sample of 15 diverse PGR students over 4 weeks. We started with a pre-study interview where we talked to participants about their PhD experiences and provided them with a study pack. Participants then had 4 weeks using a system where they had 3 meetings scheduled each week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and a different diary activity to complete each weekday. During this period, we sent participants experience sampling like messages to check in on their progress. Following this, we had a closing interview and a debrief session. Then finally, we conducted a follow-up survey 6 months later. This left us with a large number of data to analyze, especially with app telemetry data and the completed activities. So what did we find? At the most basic level, most participants enjoyed meeting others during the study, and indeed the number of meetings that participants attended increased throughout the study. Responses to the activities were more mixed, and completion of these actually decreased over the study. Some participants said that completing them was more because they had to rather than they got anything out of it, whereas others actually continued journaling after the study and looked for something that was similar to Pears because they enjoyed it so much. For the remainder of this presentation, I'm going to concentrate on the meetings that participants attended. So we found that participants had 2 distinct styles of using Pears, related to their everyday struggles and what they hoped to gain from using Pears. Some use Pears to facilitate peer support, reflect on their research and working practices, seek practical advice, and make new professional connections across the university. These participants said that Pears let them learn together and that talking to other participants gave them another perspective. Other participants used Pears to attempt to make new social connections rather than discuss work. Some of these participants reported struggling with social connectivity and loneliness in and outside of their working lives. For example, perceiving a lack of friendliness between other PGR students. However, using pairs to make new social connections resulted in some frustrating and incongruous meetings between participants. For example, one participant actively didn't want to talk about their studies during the meetings, because if they talk about theirs, then I have to talk about mine. A number of participants attempted to blend both styles, but this caused some similar challenges. Many participants reported positive and useful conversations in scheduled meetings, especially with regard to peer support, even when they were initially unsure about the value of talking to others about their work. Similar to the design workshops, we found that participants were surprised by the value of speaking to other students from other disciplines, after meeting other students admitting that it's super useful to have these sorts of things. Instead, participants hoping to make friends through the study were less enthused, reflecting that putting people together for meetings isn't really the way that friendships work. However, even in these situations, participants were grateful for growing their social connections with weak tie relationships. However, other participants reported conversations with others that were at best overly formal and at worst unsupportive or even negative. And this detracted from the experience, explaining that it makes you feel like an interviewer instead of having a chat. Finally, some participants found the labour of regularly meeting others was problematic. This was partially related to the commitment of having 3 meetings each week, but it was also the result of being stood up for a meeting when the other participant didn't turn up, or struggling with knowing what to talk about. Some participants mentioning that meeting others turned into more of an added anxiety when they were already struggling. So what did we learn from this work? In the interest of time, I'm going to quickly run through some of the implications for design. So first off, managing expectations should be as paramount as peer matching in peer support systems. Users should have autonomy over their schedules and with whom they connect. Facilitating the creation of weak tie relationships can still make a peer support system successful. There is benefit in targeting students from different fields or stages of study. And finally, peer support systems for PGR students should not be a replacement for more traditional professional sources of support. For more detail about how we learn these things, please do read the full paper. Thank you.